I think you guys can hear me now. Welcome to the process. Oh man, I don't know. It just like totally got rid of my microphone there. Welcome to the process. It is Wednesday, October 26th. I am Josh Engleman. I'm here to break down a 10-game NBA slate coming off of yesterday's 4-gamer. Shout out to Norm Powell, who I actually was light on. And what's even worse, I was even more light prior to lock, and I just didn't feel right about it. I was very light on Ivica Zubac. I took a bigger stand on Ayton and Joval and KP, which bothers me a lot because I said it yesterday. I thought that Zubac was set up to play more minutes because of the matchup, and I just didn't give it to him. And I hate myself for it. It bothers me a lot. Now, I was light on Devin Booker, so it might not have mattered as much, but Zubac bothers me. Bothers me a lot. Let's see. I saw Caleb Dewey. No update yesterday. Was that a product of all the late lineups? Yeah. I just had no opportunity to be able to take some screenshots and give my thoughts with all the news that just kept popping up. Right when I thought I was about to do it, they switched Terrence Mann in to the starting lineup, and I needed to do one more thing. Yeah, the Zubac one bothers me a lot because I know how they play him, and I just didn't do what I should have been doing by the time Kawhi also got ruled out. Like I just knew better, and I'm really not happy with myself for it. It's just one of those things I didn't catch. 10 games today. We got all the time in the world to break it down. Probably going to take about an hour and a half. So if you're here, hit the like button. You know how much that helps me out. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman, where as long as there's not crazy updates, crazy news, you will get an update. I'm on live before lock tonight, so I'll be able to put out my update just before I go live on live before lock. So sometime during that deeper dive window, I'll put that out and go live. Well, I gotta move some windows around here. So we're gonna move this here. We're gonna move this here. There we go. Now I can see chat better. I think we should just dive in. I started taking a look at results. Didn't have too much that bothered me. I liked the lineups that I generated. I really liked my exposures pre-lock. A lot of busts from the value options, but what are you going to do? So I say we get into it. But before we do, let me scroll up a little bit here. Boom. There we go. Putting it up on the screen. Red Skittles with the super chat, and a not so insignificant super chat either. Thank you very much. I did see your name having a decent day. Best show in the business. Convinced me to dust off FanDuel. Resulted in a top 10 in the clutch shot. Josh Godelman. Water, tea, beer, coffee, joints, hot dogs. Rise and grind. I actually saw your screen name this morning when I was looking through some of the results. I was excited to see it. So that works out pretty well. Congrats. Good stuff. A lot of familiar names at the top of the FanDuel leaderboards. I believe DeColts shipped 200K on DraftKings, so good for him. It was a good night around Stokastic. I saw CEO Tom JK up at the top in FanDuel. I saw Eddie at the top, and he's been up there a lot. Eddie Lai, that is. Don't get it twisted. It was a good day, but just not for this guy right here. What are you going to do? It's fine. It's fine. Alrighty. Let's get into it. So I got my coffee. I hope you guys do as well. I'm really excited to drink it. I'm thirsty, and I'm ready to get back at this. If you've got a coffee, that would be great. Red Skittles set the table here. Coffee, tea, water, beer. Hit a joint if you can. If you got any breakfast, apparently breakfast Crunchwrap Supremes or Crunchwraps, that's the best. Maybe Supreme is what puts the lettuce and tomato on it. Get a breakfast Crunchwrap. They sound delicious, but for now, I'm just going to do liquid breakfast. New creamer for Rob Martin today. That's good. What I like to hear. You guys know the drill. rise and grind. You see it on the wall. That's what we do around these parts. We get up at 6:30 in the morning. We grind NBA. Sorry to the 3:30 a.m. people on the West Coast. Sorry to anybody else around the world who's here at like 2 o'clock in the morning. But let's get this done. Coffee. Cheers, everybody. Rise and grind. Let's do it. Always so damn good. So damn good. Yeah, I ended up light on Norm Powell. And I had like 5% or 8% or something. And I was just like, there's no way. Like, it makes too much sense. So I bumped them up and got to like 25, 30. Hated myself for that one too. Anywho, we're going to go to that one. We're going to go to that one. I did it again. 2 days in a... No, I think it's been every day. Guys, would you like to sign up at BetMGM, the presenting sponsor of this show? If you're in a legal betting state, that would be a very good idea. You can click the link in the description of this video, head on over, sign up at BetMGM, make a deposit, and then bet $10 on any NBA money line tonight. If you don't want to take any risk at all, go ahead and take... Oh, boy. Well, I guess the answer would have been the Minnesota Timberwolves money line against the San Antonio Spurs, but we just saw how that went. So maybe take the Knicks against the Hornets. Either way, take a money line, put $10 on it. You will get $200 in free bets so long as anybody makes a 3 in that game. All you could really do here. It's free money, essentially. There's no risk to you guys whatsoever. The downside is that you blow through those $200 in free bets and you lose the opening $10 bet. That's the downside. You're out $10. That's not a downside. Take advantage if you haven't already. Go sign up at BetMGM. All right, now we can do this. Boom, boom. First game up on the list, we have the Orlando Magic, 8-point dogs in Cleveland, 218 total. I can actually make this first one a little bit bigger. There we go. That'll work. So this one should be pretty easy for Orlando. Let me get over to their depth chart quickly. Let me get back to chat. All right, so still no Jalen Suggs, no Fultz, no Harris, no Isaac, no Mo Wagner. So same as what we got this last time out. I got Franz in for 34 minutes. I've got Paolo Banchero in for 33 minutes. I've got Terrence Ross in for 34 minutes. That's got to go down. I'm going to make that 32. Yeah, 32. Wendell Carter Jr. playing 33. All the other standard backups. Caleb Houston got some run here with no Jalen Suggs. I got him in already. So I actually don't really have all that much that I need to change here. Maybe RJ Hampton should play a little bit less and they should give a little bit more minutes to someone else. But none of that's really going to matter on a 10-gamer. Just to double check, where do we have the usage rate for Paolo Banchero so far? That is something that I want to see. Make sure that I'm holding strong. I assume it's still pretty good. It was up pretty high previously. Paolo Banchero, 29% usage rate, so I feel good there. I don't have any Orlando rates to change. This is pretty set in stone. Ghetto Farmer Boy, good to see you. Brandon, good morning. Let's go to the Cleveland side. Yeah, I didn't really realize how bad Reggie Jackson had gotten, but last year to be on a team that was solid enough with good coaching for Reggie Jackson and play like he did last year, to have like 48% true shooting is really hard to do. All right, Cavs. No Darius Garland, should be back for the next game. Other than that, this is just what we've seen so far for Cleveland. This one's actually going to be pretty easy to handle, although I do want to see what the rates have been like for Cleveland thus far. So, I got Donovan Mitchell in for 35. I've got LeVert in for 34. I've got Jared Allen in for 32. Mobley in for 33. Honestly, those guys might be flip-flopped, but that's okay for right now. Chetty has been playing big minutes. So that's good to know, I guess. I got him in for 24. Okoro plays a little bit. I probably have too many minutes going there. I'm going to take 2 away. Not the type of guy that's going to show up either way. I think we're good here. Neto backup run. Robin Lopez has been playing. Dean Wade got back into the rotation. Kevin Love played a little bit less. I think all of this looks pretty good. Jackie, standard issue. Not an interesting day at all. Like, didn't have anything really threatening. Didn't have enough Zubats. I took a stand on basically every other center. So it worked out accordingly. 100% Luka and SGA worked out. That's what I like to hear. All right, Donovan Mitchell's got a 36% usage rate so far when Darius Garland hasn't been on the floor. Bump him up at least a little bit more. LeVert, however, has not been getting that big bump. No one else really soaking up usage aside from Donovan Mitchell. So I don't have any other changes that I would like to make for this game. So we could actually just take a look at the first one. So first one up, Orlando Magic. No legit major priorities here. We're going to say Cole Anthony is your best option on DraftKings at 6,100. You can get little bits of Banchero and Franz, but no priorities. Similarly, on the FanDuel side, it's Cole Anthony and Banchero, but again, no real priorities here. They look good, not great. On the Cleveland side, Karis LeVert for 6,200 on DraftKings interests me at least a little bit, as does Evan Mobley for 6,300. Both of these guys, 0.2 of a fantasy point per minute below their rates so far. Donovan Mitchell's 9,500 and 9,400. That's probably a bit more expensive than I would like, but I get it. Not a lot in Orlando, Cleveland. And that shouldn't be all that surprising either. I mean, 218 total is the second lowest total on the slate. We've got 233, 232, 231, 232, 227. There's just a lot less fantasy points. So Orlando, Cleveland, not that interesting. Atlanta and Detroit could be a little bit more interesting. If we look at Atlanta, no Bogdan Bogdanovic. Q-tag on Justin Holiday, which means that we can basically project Atlanta the way that we normally do. And this isn't all that complicated of a rotation. We generally see Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu split the center minutes, which is what we're going to do here. I'm going to go to 27 and 21 for today. I got Trey in for 36 minutes. That's just Trey stuff. I got DeJounte in for 36 minutes. He's played more. I'm not going to go in the fourth game of the season. I'm not going to go past 36 just yet. I need to see that happen for a bit. I always hate the feeling of like a hair dangling on the back of the neck. I always feel like it's a spider or like someone's coming around and messing with me. John Collins minutes are interesting. 34, 36, 38 over the first 3. Were any of these OT games? No. I'm going to give John Collins more minutes. It appears 34 is more realistic. DeAndre Hunter in for 32. That makes sense. After that, it's all just backups. So I don't care too much. I am going to pull Atlanta's rates just to see if anything weird is happening so far. Alrighty. DeJounte Murray, 23% usage rate so far. So a little bit lighter than normal. Actually, you know what? I want to see the assist rate for him and Trey so far. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Whoa, I just made every window go away. How did I do that? That was weird. That did not make things easier. All right, let's get all of the Atlanta rates quickly, just to see what the relationship between Trey and DeJounte, and honestly, to a lesser extent, John Collins. Because if John Collins is playing 34 plus minutes, my guess is he's taken a bit of a bite out of his stats, which, by the way, like, they should... Man, I like John Collins a lot. I think those John Collins minutes are because he's really good. And, like, he should play more, honestly. I really want them to trade Capella. Give Collins the backup Okongwu minutes. Bring in a third guy. Try to find a wing somewhere if you can. Anyway, doesn't matter. 35% usage for Trey. Excuse me. 23 for Murray. I think that stabilizes a little bit, so I don't hate what I have there. 15% assist rate for Trey. 10 for Murray. I mean, bump Trey up a little bit, I guess, but he's already at 13. But I don't even have anything that I want to change here. I'm going to leave that. The only other piece, so John Collins' usage rate has been at 19. I got him at 20. I'm comfortable there. I think his spacing is just important, which is sort of what you just said. I mean, they would have no problem getting Gordon Hayward. The Hornets didn't have 1,000 centers. That swap for Capella would be right there, but... All right, and then rebounding rates. John Collins, 11% so far. I don't think that holds, just given the way that he's being played. Capella at 10. Capella's rebounding down quite a bit. I am going to nerf that. Doesn't shock me. DeJounte Murray is a pretty good rebounder for a guard, so it's just, you know, more cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. I don't have anything else that I really want to change for Atlanta. Atlanta's pretty easy. Let's go to Detroit now. It's the team. I feel like they've played like 100 games. I don't know why this is like a different 10-19. I'm going to have to cut all of my data and reload it. I mean, Golden State and the Suns are both good. I don't know what we're doing in chat here. All right. I mean, I think Detroit's going to be really easy. Like, we know the minutes that Cade and Bay and Ivy and Boyan and Beef Stew are all playing. We know what their backups look like. So, they play Beef Stew and Duren together? They did. They played Beef Stew and Jalen Duren alongside of each other for 2 minutes. That's good to see. Let's take one quick look at rates for Detroit just to make sure everything looks okay and that we haven't seen anything crazy happen. And that's mostly from a usage perspective. I don't think I have to tweak anything on the other side. Cade, 27% usage rate. Jaden Ivey, 22% usage rate. Yeah, we're good here. This is easy. Sadiq Bey, way lower in usage than he normally is. I'm going to take him down a peg. Jackie, I forgot that I did that video. That's something that desperately needs a redo. All right, game 2. The Atlanta Hawks. Ooh, okay, so there's a lot more to like here. $9,700 Trey Young, $6,800 John Collins are the two better options on DK. I'd say they're good, not great plays. Trey Young on FanDuel is 8,700. He's averaging 1.28 fantasy points per minute so far this season. That's his normal rate. I think Trey looks fantastic today on FanDuel. Very big priority for me. On the surface, at least. Ownership dictates everything. Clint Capella, actually, for 5,600 on FanDuel. Not the worst option in the world. If you want to get to Collins or Hunter or Murray, they're all completely viable. On the Detroit side, Cade is the only guy I would want to play aggressively on both sites. But like Sadiq Bey, $1,000 more expensive on FanDuel than DraftKings. You can play him on DK. He's not a FanDuel guy. Boyan, $400 more expensive on FanDuel. I'd rather play him on DraftKings. Isaiah Stewart, $500 cheaper on DraftKings. Detroit is just a DK team, not a FanDuel team. I don't have a ton of interest in Jaden Ivey. I got him projected at 0.96 fantasy points per minute for this game. He's been at 1 for the season, so I don't feel like I'm projecting him incorrectly. I just think that this is basically Cade and nobody else. All right, so first 2 games into the boom table. And we have Karis LeVert at the top of the list on DraftKings so far. That won't hold. We'll get probably 6 or 7 guys ahead of that as we work our way through. Trae Young at the top on the FanDuel side. I probably have Karis LeVert a little over projected, but with Garland out, you kind of have to. All right. Let's see. 6:53. So we're creeping up on that 7 o'clock time. 180 viewers in here. 81 likes. You guys know the drill. Hit that like button. Let's get it up to 100 before we get to 7 a.m. That is the goal for what we're doing here. Next up, game 3. Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks. This should be a very interesting game because the Brooklyn Nets defense is doo-doo. Legit doo-doo. And Milwaukee should be able to take advantage of that in a fairly aggressive manner. And when I say that they're doo-doo, boy, do I mean it. Dead last in defensive rating. They've given up 127 points per 100 possessions. That is 3.5 points more than the second worst defense. Just not good. Not surprising, though. I mean, this wasn't supposed to be a good defensive team. They are 8th in offense. But defense is going to need to get to like 15th to 20th to even have a real shot. And if they're not in the top half, they're in real trouble. Fidel, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're just looking at defensive rating for individual players, you shouldn't look at those ratings. Those are not individual statistics. All right, let's hit Brooklyn. No Seth Curry, no TJ Warren, no Markieff Morris. We did get, we have Joe Harris back now, finally. This should be pretty easy to project as well. Kyrie, 36 minutes. Kevin Durant, 36 minutes. Royce O'Neal, I've got in at 34. I could probably make that 35. Claxton, big time minutes jump these past 2 games. Feels right to me. So I'm going to get him up to 30 now. Might actually end up looking pretty good. Ben Simmons seems to be right around that like 28 to 30 range. I have him in for 31 or 33. I do want to walk that back a little bit, take it to 31. Joe Harris played 22 minutes. That's interesting. I think they're going to start ramping him up. So I'm going to take him to 24. We'll cut Edmund Sumner down a bit. Mills in for 18 is fine. Day'Ron Sharp in for 17, I think, is fine. Yuta Watanabe and Edmund Sumner are the guys that are going to split these final minutes. So let's go 7 and 7. All right. I assume Brooklyn's good. Let's see the rates here because I don't really have a good feel for what Brooklyn's done so far. Just kind of been relying on the previous Kyrie, Kevin Durant dynamics. So I sorted it wrong. I was like, Kessler Edwards has played the most minutes. I don't even remember seeing his name. Yeah, that's good. I sorted it incorrectly. 31.8% usage for Kyrie. 34 for Kevin Durant. So I'm actually going to bump up Kyrie a bit and bump up Kevin Durant a bit. Royce O'Neal obviously doesn't touch the ball. Nobody else really touches the ball. Ben Simmons, 14% usage rate. Yeah, that seems about right to me. I actually do want to grab this team's rates so that I can see how Simmons has been involved. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is Sumner. Oh, I did it again. Don't know how I did that. All right, so we get all the way to Sumner. think it's a shame. Like, I wish that Simmons could be the guy that we know that he is at times, because like that's a really fun player. But it's just, I don't know. Look, there's a mental aspect to all of this. I feel bad for him in a way. Like, I don't think he wants this. Okay, so the usage rates are whatever. Ben Simmons has a 12% assist percentage for this team. That's higher than I would have expected. Kyrie, still what his normally is. KD's is down quite a bit. So I will cut him slightly. Simmons rebounding as well. So he's doing the other things. He just does not participate with the ball offensively. Rebounding rate for Claxton is 9% of possessions. That's fine. KD is at 5. That's kind of scary. Okay. I think we're good here with Brooklyn. On to the Milwaukee side. I think KD is going to, or I think Giannis here. Not that he's not always like the top projected guy, but I think we're about to see some shiz. This is going to be a big time Giannis day. They don't have anybody that could really check him. All right, on the Milwaukee side, same injuries as before: Chris Middleton, Pat Connaughton, Joe Ingles. So I got Drew in for 34. I've got Giannis in for 35. I'm going to cut that down to 34. Mamu not playing. We're going to take his minutes away. Portis has only played 22 minutes in both of their games. Have they really only played twice? Is that real? I feel like I'm missing a game somehow. Nope. They've only played twice. Orlando and Portland have played 4 times, as have multiple teams, but Milwaukee's played twice. Okay. Well, let's figure this out. I'm going to take Portis down to 26. Brook Lopez has looked pretty good here. I'm going to leave him in for 28. Jordan Nwora can be 18. Javon Carter, 24 seems fine. Grayson Allen, 29 seems fine. George Hill, 18 is probably low. Let's take him up to 21. Wes Matthews, 18, sure. And then Ibaka can have the final 8. Actually, we'll give Ibaka 10. We'll take Wes Matthews down to 16. Rates, I know I don't need to change. Those are the rates for Giannis and Drew and the rest of this team when Chris Middleton isn't on the floor. So, Nets, Bucks. Oh, and we're at 7 o'clock. Did we get there? Of course we got there. Why do I even need to look? Why? 204 viewers, 108 likes. I knew you guys would hit the mark. What else would you guys have done? All right, so for the Brooklyn side, no major priorities on DraftKings. I prefer Kyrie to KD because of the point savings, but the positionality makes it really close. I think Simmons is fine at 6,500. I think Claxton's fine at 6K. I think Irving and Simmons on FanDuel are the two better options. Kyrie only 8,800 to get point guard, shooting guard. Ben Simmons gets point guard, power forward. Finally getting the right positions here on FanDuel. I like that a lot. I'm happy to get to Kyrie or Ben Simmons. Any shares of Durant, you're never like upset about it. Claxton looks fine. Just no real aggressive priorities. We haven't had any crazy good plays so far until now. 11-2 for Giannis on DraftKings. Go ahead and jam him. He's going to look like the best play today. I got him at 1.74 fantasy points per minute. He's just going to ether this Brooklyn team. Happy to get to him on FanDuel at 11.6 as well. I think Drew Holiday for 7,800 on FanDuel looks really good. I think Bobby Portis at 4,900 on FanDuel is at least a little sneaky if he can fall into a couple extra minutes. And I just wouldn't be surprised if he does. This is a team where I think it'd be pretty easy to just like play a little bit of Bobby Portis and like really just turn up the scoring a little bit. But again, it's just nobody that just jumps off the page other than Giannis. And I'm not trying to add, like, I'm not trying to say, oh, I know Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, it's just play Giannis. Giannis is the best play we've seen so far on DraftKings, and he's going to be pretty close to the top the whole time. But anybody can say play Giannis. Charlotte Hornets. This is a team. They are 8-point dogs, 226 total against the Knicks. To get the Knicks to 226, that's how you know how bad Charlotte's defense is and like how much faster they play. At least I assume Charlotte's defense is bad. I mean, it's been good so far, but this team is not going to hold 8th. Quite confident. I don't think there's anything crazy going on with Charlotte right now, but let me double check. Oh, no, there is. Terry Rozier, doubtful. Cody Martin, doubtful. Is that legit? I haven't looked at the injury report yet. Ooh, we got a 6:30 version. Let's look at that. Hornets. Yeah, Cody Martin, Terry Rozier, both doubtful. Okay. Rozier, gone. Cody Martin, already out. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get some value here, I'm guessing. So with no Terry, we got 32 minutes for Gordon Hayward. Sure. We've got 32 minutes for Kelly Oubre. Yes. I'm going to take out Book Knight, DSJ, Jalen McDaniels, JT Thor. PJ Washington can go in here for 29 minutes. Got Mason Plumlee in for 24. I'm going to go 23-21. That seems fine. I am going to need to add Teo Maledon to this team. Done. So, DSJ starting point guard, 32 minutes. Feels about right to me. Teo Maledon backup point guard. Feels right to me. JT Thor played 16 minutes last time out. They played on the 23rd. They smacked Atlanta, too. So this rotation is going to be real. PJ Washington was in aggressive foul trouble. Still got to 22 minutes. Thor was the last guy off the bench, but I think only played because of PJ Washington. So I might take those JT Thor minutes away. Book Knight seems to be playing like 16 minutes a game, so that we can put back in. Daniel seems to play like 23 minutes a game, so that's pretty easy to handle. 16 more minutes for someone. It was Thor. I just don't... They weren't going to play Thor if it wasn't for PJ Washington's... Like, he didn't play in the first quarter. He wasn't a part of the rest of that four-man bench. If PJ Washington doesn't pick up that foul, I don't know if Thor plays all that much. I'm going to give him 12 minutes. I think that's about right. I'll throw 4 more spillover minutes to Mark Williams. So let's move 7 of McDaniel's minutes here. And then it's going to be 16 here. So that's Charlotte. Who soaks up the usage? Does this become like a really crazy Gordon Hayward game? I don't really like, you don't get a lot of time with Terry Rozier off and LaMelo off. So let's see what we've seen so far when those two guys aren't on the floor. Oubre with a 25% usage rate when LaMelo and Rozier aren't on the floor. Gordon Hayward actually gets up to 23, so I can give him a little bit of a bump. Not PJ Washington or Ish Smith. It wasn't even Miles Bridges last year, so I think it just sort of gets soaked up by everybody. DSJ, could probably get into the 20s. I feel pretty comfortable with Charlotte here. I don't know how well they're going to project against the Knicks because this is a massive pace down spot for Charlotte. The Knicks, on the other hand, should have the opposite problem. They should look pretty good here. 34 minutes for Brunson. Okay. 34 minutes for Barrett. 34 minutes for Randall. That's what I'm expecting them to play in a competitive game. Given the lean to Mitchell Robinson in minutes, let's go 26-22. Evan Fournier playing about 28 minutes a game. That works. Quickly's minutes are a bit higher in lieu of, I guess, Derrick Rose. That should cover me. Yeah, the easy one here on the Knicks. Knicks rotation's super simple when they're healthy. All right, on Charlotte. Man, I was expecting better value, but they have been very preemptive about the prices, even though they only had one game to do it. DSJ and Kelly Oubre are your two best options here. They're both in the sixes. 6K and 6,200 on DraftKings, 65 and 62 on FanDuel. I think Gordon Hayward is totally fine in the sixes. Washington, McDaniels, and Plumlee can sneak into lineups. I really thought Charlotte would look a little bit better, but this is what you see when you have a team in such a massive pace down spot. You can really see the effects. Whereas on the opposite side, RJ Barrett on FanDuel is 5,900. He's way too cheap for that price tag. Although has not been good yet with Jalen Brunson. Brunson, Randall, Barrett, like semi-priorities. Fournier, Mitchell Robinson, Hartenstein on FanDuel all look totally fine. I think we do need to take a look at the Knicks usage just to see how Jalen Brunson's been used. Because this is a team that's very clearly got a new relative identity. So getting that usage right is important. Barrett has been at a 25% usage rate. Jalen Brunson's 21.5, so I don't even think that's crazy. Randall is at 25. Okay, so it's sort of what you would expect. Okay, fine by me. Pace up spot. I kind of like New York, but again, nobody is just flying off the page as like a very obviously good play. I'm really surprised that we haven't caught any more value. Julius Randle actually second on DraftKings so far. I didn't really expect that. Dennis Smith Jr. and Kelly Oubre 4 and 5. Maybe I'm underselling it today. $8,200 Randle on DraftKings, $7,900 for Randle on FanDuel, and he gets the center eligibility. That's a pretty good deal when he's going up against Charlotte. Kind of like Randle today. Put a pin in that one. Oh boy. All right, Sixers Hornets. Sixers Raptors. Sixers are 1-point dogs, 216 total. I don't think we're gonna like a lot of this game. This is slow, low total. On the Philly side, Q-tag on DeAnthony Melton. So same rotations we normally get. Big minutes for Maxey, big minutes for Harden. I want to double check the Philly rates because I want to make sure that I don't have James Harden under projected. He is someone that I have not been getting as of late. So just out of curiosity, 27% usage rate so far for Harden. That's a little bit higher than I was expecting. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think that I need to make a single change for this Philly rotation. I guess Tucker can come down to 30 minutes. Go up to 16 on Niang, but none of this matters. We know the guys that we're looking at for this team. Maxey's been at 22% usage. I cannot project him there just yet. Embiid's at 37. Going to 19 on Maxey. I just don't think it's going to hold. And then on the Toronto side, I assume they're getting Scotty Barnes back, but that he's questionable. Yeah, Otto Porter's doubtful, but I'm going to put Scotty Barnes back in. Should make things pretty easy to do. Toronto, not exactly a team that's, I don't want to say they're not hard to project, but they're not hard to project. So let's get Scotty Barnes his 35 minutes for today. I got to cut 3 minutes from somewhere. I'll come from Malachi Flynn. Goodbye. Oh, no. I got to cut more than that. I got to get Chris Boucher out there for 14 minutes. So now I got to cut 14 minutes. Is Christian Coloco going to keep playing? Probably is, right? No, he's not. They're not going to keep playing Christian Coloco. Not happening. There we go. Toronto's as easy as it gets. So Philly, standard projections. Yeah, look, like James Harden, 9,600 on DraftKings. Yeah, I got to take a look at Harden's rates. I mean, I do think that this is a bad spot. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I do think this is a bad spot just in general from a DFS standpoint. It's just slower, better defenses. It does give me pause. But I have Harden not projected very well, and that's important for us to take a look at. I think his assist rate is even higher than I thought it was going to be, so that's interesting. Andres, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Internet stress, you too. Okay. Let's go back to Philly quickly just to hit on these Harden rates. Okay, so I have the assist rate right for Harden. Rebounding rate is at 10. We'll bump him up to 9. I can't go any higher than that. Maxi's assist rate is down quite a bit. I will cut that down. Cannot give him 22% usage, though. Embiid, 5% assist, 15% rebound. That seems fine. So, yeah, I actually think that this is okay. Yeah, I think this is okay. Yeah, I just don't think this is a game where these guys are going to project all that well. So, is Embiid okay? Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of James Harden for tonight. I could rue that information. Maxey seems fine. No real priorities coming out of Philly. On the Toronto side, it's basically just pick your starter. Van Vliet, Trent, Anunoby, Siakam, Barnes. You can kind of go to any of them on DraftKings. Siakam probably a bit too expensive for me on FanDuel, although he does have the power forward eligibility. Precious is okay. Just not a good DFS game. You can tell by the total. On the other hand, the Indiana Pacers are 7.5-point dogs against Chicago, 232 total. This one feels very safe as a good DFS matchup. We'll see where the prices land. On the Indiana side, we are past the halfway point now. Q-tag on Miles Turner. That is a complicating factor and an annoying one. But I'm going to assume that Miles Turner is in fact back. 28 minutes to Turner. We're going to get rid of Goga. 20 minutes to Isaiah Jackson. We're going to go 26 minutes to Jalen Smith. I'm going to take... I don't think that Andrew Nembhard... Oh, maybe he is. All right. 33 minutes for Halliburton. TJ McConnell as the backup point guard. That works for me. Neesmith, I think, is going to be right around 20 minutes. That seems fine. I'm going to take Nembhard's minutes out. I don't know if Terry Taylor's going to be playing as much as he was before, so I'm going to take that down to 16. They just don't have any bodies like that. It's weird. All right, I'm going to take Isaiah Jackson down even further, actually. I mean, he was playing 18 minutes a game even with Turner out, so let's take him down to 16. Going to leave Jalen Smith in at 26. Chris Duarte seems to be playing around 20 minutes a game. I got Healed in for 27. That seems fine. Mathurin in for 28. That seems fine. 11 for Nembhard. Yami Styles. Nembhard is good value. He is unplayable. Completely unplayable if Miles Turner is back. Shouldn't be in a single lineup. Most of this seems fine. I think those minutes are going to hold for Mathurin. Will be interesting to see what Turner looks like in 28 minutes. This should be like a really good offensive spot for both sides of this one. For the Bulls, everybody's healthy. So this is just going to be like small rotational tweaks. DeMar in for 36. That's what he's going to play in a competitive game, or at least I think so. Dosunmu in for 31. I feel fine there. Vooch in for 32. Levine in for 32. That all seems fine. Caruso playing a bit less doesn't make any sense at all. They are working in Derek Jones into the rotation as well. Don't ask me why. I mean, I get trying to get away from like Kobe White. He's not very good, but still. I don't have to change any rates. Like, this is just the Bulls. We know them. They look like last year's team. Let's see what we get here. Oh, man, I was expecting a little bit of value somewhere for Indiana. It's just not here. Halliburton, 8,300 and 8,600. No problems. Mathurin, Miles Turner, Jalen Smith, they're all fine. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do that one either. Goran Dragic plays 16 minutes a game. It's a 10-game slate. You're picking the wrong people. The two people you've named right now should be in 0 of 150 lineups. Yeah, no priorities from Indiana. That's crazy. What about Chicago? Okay, Chicago's a little bit better. DeRozan, Vooch, Levine, all three look pretty solid on DraftKings. They're all fine on FanDuel as well. Dosunmu also mildly sneaky, but not the greatest per minute guy in the world. Just not an interesting matchup. This slate has been really blah so far. Like, nobody that we just talked about is here at the top of either one of these. Vooch gets to 7th, but I mean, we know there's going to be a million centers. This has been a pretty tame slate. I think we're going to see some stuff for Houston, Utah, just going out on a limb. That seems like it's going to have some DFS implications, as does this next one. San Antonio and Minnesota. I smashed Minnesota in this spot 2 days ago. Again, particularly because I know that we have no Devin Vassell for San Antonio. He is doubtful. And, well, this is going to be an interesting one. All right, so 28 minutes for Trey Jones. I'm going to take that up to 29. We'll see what I can add to Josh Primo in a bit. Josh Richardson, I assume, is the guy that's going to take the biggest bump up. Well, it's going to be Primo and Josh Richardson that take the biggest bump up here. So I'm going to take Primo to 26 minutes. I'm going to take Josh Richardson to 27. So the first two spots are good. Jakob Poeltl in for 29 minutes. I feel fine there. I'm going to take Roby's minutes out, McDermott's, Sohan, Bates, and Collins. I want to start this one from scratch. Sohan, 22, 23? Yeah, 23. Zach Collins can go in for 16. Isaiah Roby is playing, so we're going to give him 12. Buckets gets 18. I got 27 minutes left for Keita Bates, Diop, maybe Romeo Langford, maybe. All right, like if they close in a closing lineup, we're going to go Trey Jones, probably Josh Richardson, Keldon Johnson, Sohan, Poeltl. I'm going to go to 28 on Jay Rich now. I'm going to give Roby 2 more minutes. just have so many minutes left. Keita Bates-Diop can get 11. And I think Romeo Langford's just going to play. Probably don't need to change any rates in any way. Like, Vassell gets some usage, but nothing crazy. I'll just let it reestablish. I assume there's value here for San Antonio. And then on the Minnesota side, same as usual. I don't think anybody came away from that game hurt. Oh, yeah, Kyle Anderson out. Forgot there was no slow-mo. Wait, he was already out. Never mind. And then doubtful tag on Austin Rivers. That's fine, too. Edwards in for 34. Russell in for 34. Towns in for 34. Gobert in for 34. McDaniels' minutes have been a little weird. I got him in for 34. I'm going to cut that down to 30. We did see a little bit more Naz Reid. I'm going to take him up to 10. Jalen Noel was the bright spot in this one last time. I'm going to go to a little bit more Jalen Noel in lieu of Jordan McLaughlin. Minnesota is easy to project, though, right now. All right, San Antonio. Yeah, there it is. We got a little bit more value here. Keldon Johnson, both sites. Pirtle, Trey Jones, Josh Richardson for 3,900 on DraftKings. Point guard, shooting guard eligible. Or sorry, shooting guard, small forward eligible. He's like a 0.85 guy. Very interesting value option. He's already 4,600 on FanDuel, which is kind of annoying. Not as much value from San Antonio as I was expecting. Now on the Minnesota side, I'll be going right back to Minnesota. Edwards, Russell, Towns, Gobert. Jaden McDaniels a little bit less so I'm sure it's going to be him today. They look a little bit better on FanDuel. Towns is 8,400 still. I'm going to be jamming in Towns. I'm going to be jamming in Edwards. I'm going to be getting this game a lot again. I already know. At least from the Minnesota side. Because they're not going to get any ownership. And I'm interested in that. All right. Yeah, Towns is 4th on FanDuel for me. Gobert is 7th. Edwards is 8th. Pirtle is 10th. J. Rich is 2nd on DraftKings. You also see Towns crack that top 10. Yeah, Josh Richardson looking pretty good. We still don't have that like crazy value option, though, today. Maybe Houston, Utah will be the one to do it. Let's see, where are we at? 247 concurrent viewers, 150 likes. Hit that thumbs up one last time. I won't ask again. I appreciate you guys for being here. All right, Houston Rockets. Hey, Rob, thanks for being here. Glad you're enjoying it. Rockets have no Şengün, no Fernando. Q tag on Jae'Sean Tate. They kind of actually need Jae'Sean Tate back. But we've got no Şengün. And we know there's no Bruno Fernando. We've got Kevin Porter in for 34 minutes. I'm going to take everybody that's not a starter's minutes out right now so that we could rebuild this team. Eric Gordon's playing 31 minutes a game. Kenyon Martin now with no Şengün and no Fernando is going to play 32 minutes here. And then we saw Jabari play, I'm going to say 33 for this one. And that's going to be center and power forward. Daishen Nix looks like he's supplanted Josh Christopher as the backup point guard. Garuba is obviously still going to get some run. I'm going to throw 12 minutes in for right now. Ari Eason seems just sort of like locked into 18 minutes. I think we do see like the smallest rotation for Boban. Garrison Matthews can play like 12 minutes. And then I probably need to hunt down minutes for Jae'Sean Tate. That's probably Boban minutes. So I can get Jae'Sean Tate to 21 in his return. I mean, Tate should start. I just don't know if he will in this first one back. Okay, so for now, let's move these guys around. I'm going to say We're going to go 18 and 18. So that can be 14 and 15. We'll move Eason down a peg. That's about as good as we're going to ask for here. I think all the rates should be the same. I am going to look up the rates for Houston, though, because I want to make sure that I get Jabari right. This is a team where rates are going to be important. 2, 4. That's rebounds. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to Knicks. I think these rates are already going to be correct, so maybe we won't be making the changes that I thought we would have been making. I assume one or two people from Houston and Utah are just going to be crazy good plays here, but we shall see. All right. 26.5% usage rate to Kevin Porter and Jalen Green. So I'm going to take a 25.5 here. 26 for Jalen Green. Jabari is at 19.5. I'm going to leave him in for 20. Assist rate, KPJ at 7.5. I've already done this. Jabari not involved from an assist perspective. Jalen Green not really involved from an assist perspective. No one else really is. Eric Trabb, thank you for the super chat. Put it up on the screen quick. Thank you for the early morning content. Rise and grind. What kind of coffee do you drink? I'm a dark roast guy myself. No preferences. I do lean dark roast when given the opportunity to make those choices. I tend to try to get coffees that have like chocolate, caramel, those sorts of molasses, those sorts of flavor profiles. I tend to get away from anything like grassy or earthy. I don't really love that kind of taste. But yeah, that's me. All right. Kevin Porter Jr., 6.5% rebounding. Same. Jalen Green, 4.5. Same. Jabari Smith, 7.5. So not all that interesting to me. Even Kenyon Martin, 6.5. He's trying to do this sort of dirty work. I think we're good here on Houston. And now we do Utah. And on the Utah Jazz, everybody's available that we've had. I assume their rotation has been pretty smooth. Ended up getting Mike Conley on a back-to-back, which was not something anybody really expected. Jackie, wouldn't be surprised if Rob does the same here. I've got I think it's called like Baritza Encore. That seems to be like the standard burr grinder, but if you're grinding your own coffee, it has to be a burr grinder. Oh, Coffee Pot does it. Here, I can make this a little bit easier. Here's the best coffee grinder. Right here. This is what I have downstairs. It's exceptional. It's no bells and whistles. I mean, if you want to step it up, the Virtuoso's got a little bit more like interesting stuff, but you just set the grind size. You could from powder to ultra thick. One button. You don't have to mess with anything else. Does a hell of a job. I've had it for years. All right, Utah Jazz. 31 minutes for Conley. 33 minutes for Markkanen. 29 minutes for Olynyk. Kessler. I don't think I have anything major to change here. It does seem like they're going to a little bit less Malik Beasley. I don't know who that's in lieu of. Like, if you don't care too much about coffee, then grinder probably won't matter. But if you're doing any sort of like French press or pour over, you want a very specific grind. And that coffee grinder is going to provide that grind for you. right, I got to get more minutes to Jared Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt averaging like 26. I'm going to get him up to 27. I'm going to take 2 away from Beasley, 1 away from Rudy Gay. I think the rest of this is fine. I think the Jazz are capable of playing big minutes to their starters, but they did go to OT twice, so it's nothing too crazy. SMP, I think you might be overlooking what Utah's doing this year. I don't think they're trying to play the Houston matchups today. They're going to give Kessler 20 minutes no matter what. I think, barring foul trouble. They want to know what they have there. You could be right, but... All right, so Houston and Utah are both done. So, okay, I got to fix Jabari Smith's name from the salaries file. So I guess he's got his whatever marked. Did they change that? Because I would have had that already. All right, Jabari Smith Jr. Oh, so he was the second, I guess. All right, we're into row 2 here. There we go. So I like Houston. I like them more on FanDuel. But like KPJ for 7,600 looks really good. I like Kenyon Martin a lot, 4,500 and 4,200, assuming he's playing 32 minutes. Happy to get to Eric Gordon or Jalen Green or Jabari Smith. I just want to get to a lot of Houston. I think they're going to be popular. Similarly, Utah's the team. Give me Lauri Markkanen, 6,500 on DraftKings. Incredible price. Give me $5,600 Kelly Olynyk on DraftKings or $5,300 on FanDuel. We're jamming Kelly Olynyk once again. I like Jared Vanderbilt. I like Mike Conley. I don't like Jordan Clarkson all that much, but still fine. This is the first game we've seen where like there are multiple high quality options. Well, Yami, if you'd rather play Tyler Hero over the Houston guards, I got a sneaky suspicion that Tyler Hero is a bad play based on everything else you've said, but we'll wait. I'll reserve judgment till we get there. Yeah, Olynyk, 2nd on DraftKings. Markkanen, 3rd on DraftKings. Porter, 6th. That looks good. Kmart, 3rd on FanDuel. That's what we like to see. Looking good now. Looking good. Let's save this file before I ruin something. We got 2 more games to go. We got Lakers, Denver. No Russ tonight. This one should project pretty interestingly. Let's just get into LA now. Russell Westbrook, doubtful with the hamstring injury. LeBron and AD are both probable. Obviously, no Dennis Schroeder, no Thomas Bryant. Trickle-down effect here is pretty big, though. We're going to need to look at rotations. So they played on the 23rd. They lost to Portland, but it was competitive. That's obviously the Russ 2-for-1 game. So Juan Toscano Anderson was actually the guy. No, is that right? No. Okay, so Kendrick Nunn checked in for Russ in the 1st quarter and the 3rd quarter. I have to assume that Kendrick Nunn is the guy that steps into the starting lineup here. That's how it feels to me. I don't think that's like a crazy stance. Do they go Nunn, Beverly, Walker, LeBron, AD? I'm going to cut this whole rotation out. I think we get, 26 minutes for Kendrick Nunn. Obviously, we're going 36 LeBron, 36 AD, 35 AD. So that's pretty easy there. Lonnie Walker, 3 starts, 30-something minutes. That's just happening. So 33 minutes straight to Lonnie Walker. Pat Bev is going to play, 30 minutes when he can. I don't think they're going to... You can't always trust him, so I think 30 is fine. So I'm fine with that starting rotation. Troy Brown checked in for LeBron in their last game, then came back off when LeBron came on, but then Troy Brown started the second quarter rotation with the bench. Weird rotation there. Troy Brown then came in for LeBron, stayed a little bit longer too, came off when Russ came back out. I mean, I think he's just a part of the rotation, but I don't think he's going to start. I think we're going to get, let's see, Juan Toscano Anderson's probably like just a solid 18 minutes, 20 minutes. We'll go 20 minutes. Damian Jones played a first quarter rotation just because. Yeah, I'm gonna say that Damian Jones does play a rotation at center. So that's pretty cut and dry. We can do something like that. Backup point guard. I guess it's just technically, they're not going to stagger those guys. Who's going to play backup point guard? We're just going to say that's like technically Troy Brown or Austin Reeves. I guess we are. I'll move the minutes for Beverly there just to make it easier. 22 minutes for Troy Brown seems right to me. I don't know if I have him in here right now. So Troy Brown Jr. I'm going to go 20 minutes to Troy Brown. We're going to go 22 to Austin Reeves. And then 12 minutes to Matt Ryan. I think feels about right. Should be good. Now, we definitely need to get rates. And I know it's not going to be the most instructive thing in the world, but we got to go back to last year. Games where LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and Anthony Davis both played with Russell Westbrook off the floor. That's what we need to know. Richie, just because it didn't work out, that's not a good way to think. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 is Stanley Johnson. Sure. So again, this is going to be all of the minutes that AD and LeBron played last year and this year when Russ was off and both of those guys were available to play. So I don't want it if either one of those guys weren't in the game. Like if AD was already out or LeBron was already out, that's a different story. I just want to know what it looks like when those two guys were available and Russ was not on the floor. I think that's the best way to look at this. See, Dola, they can't trade LeBron. He's untradeable for this entire season. Couldn't do it if they wanted to. All righty. LeBron James, 33.5% usage rate in 341 minutes in this scenario. AD, 22.5% usage rate. I can't imagine that continues, but I am going to bump up LeBron one spot. I cannot take AD much lower than 24 here. Nobody else really saw any usage other than Melo, so I'm just going to let Lonnie Walker / Kendrick Nunn become Melo in this case. LeBron with a 9% assist rate, so that does go up a little bit. AD not getting assists. LeBron 10% rebounding rate. That kind of makes sense to me. So I could let him get back to where he was there. AD 9% rebounding rate there. Okay, so I don't have any real other changes to make for this Lakers team. Now they take on Denver. Denver Nuggies. Q-tag on MPJ. Jeff Green probable. I'm going to assume this is the same rotation. Yeah, I mean, you're killing me. I don't know why it is that I disagree with everything that you say, but yeah, if I'm the Pacers, I probably don't want to do that deal. Maybe I do. I'm probably asking for more at this point in time. But if I'm the Lakers, I would never do that trade. I think that's a terrible trade for the Lakers. I would be very surprised if they trade their 2 picks at this point. I think they're just going to either eat Westbrook or simply just offload him near the deadline to the Spurs, or I think the Hornets are the 2 teams that have a ton of cap room, just to get him away from the team. But I don't think they're going to spend assets to get rid of him. It's not worth it. All right, so Denver's just like the same team they normally are, right? 28 minutes for Jamal Murray, sure. 32 for MPJ, 32 for KCP. I guess MPJ can probably come down to 30. All right, when I say Charlotte, I would assume he would get bought out. He's not going to play. Would be my guess, at least. We'll go 31 to KCP, 31 to MPJ, 34 for Jokic can stay. Jeff Green gets an extra minute. 32 for Aaron Gordon. Take him down to 31. Bruce Brown in for 25 is fine. I don't know why Zeke Najee's not playing. We'll give 2 minutes to Christian Brown. Yeah. I mean, you can't listen to Woj and Shams because all they are puppets and mouthpieces for player agents or office representatives. You got to know who's talking about it. There's no incentive to trade 2 future picks for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner if you can barely get into the play-in when you do it. It's not going to move the needle for them. That trade is less available than people think. There's a reason you hear about it a lot. Think about who's involved in it. Think about who gives that information out. The reason you see that trade out a lot is because that is sort of what the Lakers want, not what anybody else wants. You always got to think about this in terms of who is the agent and who are the people involved in the story. If you see Woj talking favorably about someone, there's a really good chance that whoever they're talking about is represented by CAA, because Woj is a CAA guy. You'll just see different terminology on that side. Similar story for Shams. You're just going to see it be reported differently based on who their agent is, whether that's coming from the team side or the player side. There's no incentive to make that trade any longer, because this is not a team that can win the title with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Damn straight, Rob Martin. All right. Minutes are good for Denver. It's no different than like watching the news and watching Fox News or CNN or whatever other news that are out there. You got to remember where they're coming from with that news. Like, nobody thinks that you just watch the news and then it's all the same. You got to think that, like, I don't want to label either one of them either way because I don't care, but like, one of those, Shams is Fox News and Woj is CNN, and like everybody's got their own agenda. All right, Lakers. They look great on DraftKings. LeBron for 9,900 looks incredible. AD for 9,200 looks incredible. Don't sleep now, but like, LeBron's at 1.5 fantasy points per minute and AD's at 1.4. No matter what we think about AD, he looks good here. As does Lonnie Walker as a value play, as does Patrick Beverley as a value play. Kendrick Nunn for sure looking good at 3,500. These guys look good on FanDuel as well, just slightly worse, but it's Lakers season tonight. Meanwhile, on Denver, if you're not getting to Giannis, you're certainly getting to Jokic at 10-9 on DraftKings. Center only is the only complicating factor. I like Michael Porter Jr. for 5,900 quite a bit. He's just a fantasy point per minute guy. When he's out there, there's a ceiling. Aaron Gordon, KCP, Jamal Murray, Bruce Brown, all sort of viable in their own way because the Lakers' offense is so bad that Denver's D might actually be able to keep this competitive. Yeah, the whole league knows now that Russ can't play for the Lakers. So you can really, the Lakers don't really have much leverage other than their organization is a tire fire and 2 unprotected firsts in the future is an asset to someone. If I'm the Lakers, I don't touch those picks. They're at a point now where you eat this. What they really should do, honestly, is eat this season, use their cap room to bring in a third person, and then use those available picks in the offseason to try to pick up more length shooting along the wing for this team. To me, that's the better mechanism. Final game, guys. We're at 7:49. We've got 330 people in here, 180 likes. Can we get to 200 likes? I think that would be pretty sick. If we could get to 200 today, that's not something I was expecting today. That would really start my Wednesday off on the right way. Final game, Miami Heat. Jason, they're already eating these seasons. That's the thing. Everything that you already know is sunk. They have no capability for it this year. You don't have a choice. If you don't eat this season now, you're eating 27 and 29 in the future and hemorrhaging that. There is no mechanism for them to be good right now. They can't do it. Beverly, Buddy Hield, LeBron, AD, Miles Turner is great and all. It's not the favorite or the second favorite or the third favorite in the West. I mean, if Russ goes to the Spurs, he's not playing us. I mean, the Spurs might be the one unique spot that he plays for Pop, but he wouldn't play a second for the Spurs. He's going to get bought out and go to who's a team that would who would sign him? Because if he's not willing to come off the bench, then nobody's signing him to be a starter. Yeah, the money's not the issue there, Jason. Nobody really cares if they've got 18 million left to pay or 22 left to pay. Honestly, most of the contract gets paid before the trade deadline anyway. It's more of an accounting thing. So the Kyrie thing is kind of interesting if Brooklyn isn't very good. I think Kyrie comes back into the table there. Brooklyn snags one of those picks. They just swap them out if they don't want to be in the Kyrie experience any longer. Okay, Jason. Happy to be wrong. All right, Miami Heat. Let's close this one out. Caleb Martin back after his 1-game suspension. No Oladipo, no Omer Yurtseven. Let's just get Caleb Martin back for, his 27 minutes. Adios, Haywood Highsmith. We'll get Caleb Martin in for 27. Yeah, so that's the big piece there, Brandon. If they make that Hield Turner deal, they have no flexibility in the offseason next year. They have to toe this delicate line between taking in money for next year in whatever deal they're doing. Wait, did I see? Yeah, Russ is not easy to trade. If Russ were easy to trade, he'd be somewhere else. The fact that you have to attach 2 unprotected firsts to him to get rid of him is part of the problem here. Man, Gabe Vincent just sort of plays 24 minutes a game, doesn't he? Look, nobody's untradeable. It all depends on how many assets you're willing to put on it. Oh, yeah, I could definitely take a bunch of those Duncan Robinson minutes away. There we go. We're already good here. We know the rates for Lowry, Hero, Bam, Butler. Brandon, his expiring contract isn't an attraction. Expiring contracts are not what they were 10 years ago. There's like 12 teams set up to have like 50 million in cap room next year. Expiring contracts have very, very little value at this point in time. They do when you want to get into bird rights. Westbrook's expiring contract is, unless you've got an equally awful contract with more years, that's really the only value in Westbrook. If you've got like a guy that's making 30 million a year for another year on top of that, that's really the only place where that expiring matters. It's not, because of the way the contracts have changed and because of the cap rising, expiring contracts do not carry the same value that you heard in like the early 2010s or like late 2000, like 7, 8, 9 range. All right, Miami's just easy to look at. I'm sure I'm going to get Bam, and I'm sure he's going to be shitty. On the Portland side, wait, you guys are getting me off track here. We're going an hour and a half because we're just talking about Westbrook. No wonder ESPN does it every day. Q-tag on Justice Winslow. Still no Peyton, no Sarr, no Trendon Watford. They kind of need Watford back, actually. Man, you never know with Justice Winslow. I'm going to leave him in for right now. I assume he doesn't play. I just assume that this is the normal rotation. 35 for Dame, 34 for... Yeah, I'm making no changes here. Keon Johnson got on the floor when Justice Winslow didn't, but I'm going to assume Justice Winslow plays, and I'm keeping everything that I have for Portland. No, there's not a single contending team that would ever trade for Russ. Unless it's to get off of just some like asinine contract, and there aren't a lot of those out there. Russ is like one of those. Okay. I did think it was interesting. Like, if Portland would have been really shitty, swapping Russ to Portland for those 2 picks for Dame, if it all went like tits up, but it doesn't appear that that's happening for Portland. Just because Dame's contract, like the out years right now, he's set to make like 60 million 5 years from now or something stupid. Larry, I don't know what you're talking about right now. Why did I look at that post in chat? I don't know what you mean. All right, Miami. Circling back to that question about Tyler Hero versus the Houston guards. The Houston guards are better than Tyler Hero is today. Bam Adebayo is probably your best option, but if he continues to be a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy, that's going to be bad. Johnny Myers, good to have you here. Nobody's trading for Russ to acquire. The amount of people that can actually trade for Russ are so small because of his contract. You kind of need to send him to the Spurs and Hornets of the world just to unload that kind of massive money. Otherwise, you're putting like 2 or 3 dudes into the deal. He's really difficult to trade. Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry on FanDuel, 8,100 and 5,100. I think both of those look good, although Lowry has been real bad so far. 0.7 fantasy points per minute. I kind of like a little bit of Miami, but it's not Hero. even if maybe it should be. On the Portland side, oh man, I was hoping to get a little bit more Portland too. Josh Hart, Anthony Simons, your two best options on DK. Nothing all that interesting on FanDuel. Dame's price finally climbing. If Jalen Green's scoring dependent and Tyler Hero is not scoring dependent, you and I can have a conversation. So the Heat is an interesting one if they wanted to try to get those picks for flipping assets later. If you send Kyle Lowry out, like Lowry and Duncan Robinson, you get Russ back with those picks. Anyway, let's run some crunches, folks. Thank you for being here. We did get to 211 likes. You guys are the absolute best. This has been a fun conversation, too. I tried to bite my tongue as much as I could. Sometimes it's hard. Let's run some crunches. FanDuel up first. I don't have a great feel for FanDuel. I don't have a good feel for this slate. Like, there was not as much, no doubt about it, value. Well, no, I'm saying, like, if the Heat season goes awry, Russ is just there. I don't even know if he would report to Miami. They could. I mean, like, I'm sure he would, but this is just assuming, like, something goes wrong with Miami's season. They would never make that trade if they're even functionally okay. All right. Optimals on FanDuel. Trae Young, Jamal Murray, Kelly Oubre, Patrick Beverley, Paolo Banchero, KJ Martin, Bam Adebayo, Kelly Olynyk, Jokic. I mean, I like that lineup outside of Murray. I don't know if Murray has the right tail at this point, but at the same time, I mean, the shots are there. The assists really aren't. 5,400. I wouldn't be playing Jamal Murray in an optimal. Like, I would probably remove him and just take, like, the second best lineup. Might need to look at his projection a little bit, because he just doesn't have the same sort of upside. But I like the rest of that lineup. No qualms there. All right. Power rankings on FanDuel. Looking like some combination of Kelly Olynyk. I mean, look how flat this is. This makes me feel right based on the way that we just looked at this slate. This is just like a sort of very casual decline from top to bottom. Olynyk, Cunningham, Butler, Trae Young, Karis LeVert, Anthony Edwards, DSJ, Oubre. Like, all of this looks very, very, very similar. Hard to really separate these guys. Yeah, I just don't have... I don't see anything here. Like, there's just... On FanDuel, at least, there's not a no doubt about it obvious option today. That just doesn't exist. Yeah, that's... I don't know. It's very, very flat. Definitely like Kelly O and going back to Cade, but like the numbers that you're just going to be able to sort of, if Locke were right now, you can kind of justify like 80 different guys. That's a very tricky slate. I'm just going to be playing a lot of like 4% owned dudes tonight at 20%. Just guys that I think look similar that didn't get the ownership. Top 5 for today. Cade Cunningham, Karis LeVert, Kelly Olynyk, Trae Young, Anthony Edwards. Let's go to the DraftKings side now. Where is Braun? I don't know, like 20th or so, but like, it's all relative. The rank, the straight line rank is not as, it doesn't explain as much on a day like today. Eric Traub with the super chat once again. Let's throw that up on the screen. Thank you, Josh. Have a great day. Good luck, everyone. Let's get this bread. I agree. All right, DraftKings Optimal. Kendrick Nunn, Josh Richardson, KJ Martin, Giannis, Olynyk, Beverly, MPJ, and Jokic. So that one makes me feel a little bit better. That is the optimal by 4/100th of a point. And you can get like DSJ in there over Nunn. You get Lonnie Walker in there over MPJ. Vooch shows up. Like, this is how you know how flat a day is. These lineups are separated by 4/100ths of a point, and there are multiple different pieces between the two of them. Markkanen's in this one. He's not in that one. Giannis is in this one with Jokic. He's not in this one. Like, very, very, very different lineups here with essentially the same projection. Now let's go power rankings on DraftKings before we get out of here. Another fantastic show in the books, folks. Okay, so it's starting to stabilize a little bit. Jay Rich, Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Olynyk, going to be at the top here from a value perspective. Lonnie Walker looks good. MPJ looks good if he can play. Cole Anthony looks good. But again, look how flat it is. Like, Kelly Olynyk, I just think is a good value play in the best matchup you can get against Houston. I understand why he's at the top. Josh Richardson stepping into extra minutes for Devin Vassell, that's fine. Kendrick Nunn, Lonnie Walker, no Russ is creating a little bit more usage. Nunn stepping into more minutes. All that makes sense. And then the rest of this is just flat. Like Porter Jr., Simons, LeVert, all around like 14%. But even at the bottom of this, you're still getting like Bruce Brown or KJ Martin at 10%. There's no difference between those guys. This is all very, very similar, other than that tippy top where I think Richardson, Olynyk, and Nunn are kind of just different today. Am I watching Champions League today? Yeah, I got a hell of a day today, which is going to be tricky. Got to do contenders. I've got the strategy show. I head to the gym at 1 o'clock. I come back from the gym. Liverpool kicks off at 3. I'm on live before lock at 6, so I can actually watch the whole game, probably watch the second half at my desk and do my prep and everything. But it's just going to be 7:30 before I notice it. Long day. Could be a fun day. Maybe I get a Liverpool win in the Champions League and bink FanDuel. That would be fantastic. One can only hope. All right, power rankings on DraftKings, and then we can get out of here. Josh Richardson at the top, Kelly Olynyk 2. They are the very clear top 2. Kendrick Nunn 3, very clearly 3. Porter, Walker, LeVert, Simons, Hart, Markkanen, Cade Cunningham. But again, very, very, very flat today. Very difficult to make any sort of distinctions either way. Thank you guys for being here, man. For real. Like, 300 people, 230 likes. Absolutely crushed this show once again. Let's change up the view here. Boom, boom. Looking good. Another one in the books. Larry Legend shirt didn't work yesterday, so I went to the Dennis Rodman one, the Jeremy Sohan revival. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I mean, guys. That's where we're at. Another one in the books. We got 2 more this week, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to record contenders right now. Thank you guys for being here. Go check out BetMGM if you haven't signed up there and you are in a legal betting state. You can get $200 in free bets by just simply betting $10 on any money line. That's it, everybody. Strategy show coming up at 10 a.m. Myself and Adam. Actually, it might be at 9:45. Probably at 9:45. Going an hour 15, breaking it all down. Everybody, this was the process.